Hi everyone and welcome to Drive, your source for automotive reviews, analysis, maintenance, and restorations. Please subscribe to our channel, watch the entire video, and of course click on notifications to be first to learn about new videos. I'm Chris Capredoni, and in this special how-to video, I'm going to show how to perform a very visual, attractive, and cheap modification to many BMW 3 Series. I'm going to explain how to replace the plastic headlight lower mold trim with an attractive metal mesh insert. All you need is a small roll of aluminum automotive mesh, some simple tools, and supplies. I can't wait to show all 3 Series BMW owners this exciting modification, which personally speaking makes the front end look awesome. Let's get started. I fabricated the trim for the piece of plastic that goes right below the headlight assembly for the driver's side. So it came out well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the process step by step on how to create the other side. I removed the piece of plastic trim that goes right below. And what I'm going to do is take the same piece of aluminum mesh that I bought online. This was very inexpensive. The whole roll was about $11. So this is a very cheap modification to my BMW. So what I've done is with a black magic marker, I've outlined the shape that I want to cut out that will give me ample excess without too much excess of enough mesh for me to fabricate the next one. So I've marked it out. I'm going to start cutting it out with my tin snips. Now that I've cut out the amount of material from the mesh roll that I need in order to make this modification, I've flattened it out and I've taken the original piece of trim. And what I need to do is start shaping it to replicate this shape, which is, it's going to take several steps. The next step now is I'm placing the plastic trim in the middle, and I'm giving myself about 2 centimeters, roughly an inch of amount of trim at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start shaping it upwards using the trim as my mold. I'm not interested right now in the curvature. It's more in getting the foundation of my new trim piece to start looking like the shape. Now, when it's completed, most of this material will appear and remain as I install it underneath to give the front part its rigidity and maintain its shape. You can see obviously it's flat right now, whereas the original trim piece is curved. So what I need to do is I need to strategically start cutting some relief cuts where I feel it's appropriate, so that I can start bending it and shaping it to get the curvature, especially here where it meets the wheel fender, in order to make sure that it's a smooth transition to the fender. So I'm happy at this point in time right now with how the first step in shaping the new trim piece looks. The next step is to start shaping to get the curvature of the plastic molding that I want to replicate. So what I've done here, it's probably hard to see, I've marked 3 areas where I want to do relief cuts so I can start shaping and getting the same curvature. So I've already marked them with marker. I'm just going to cut them. Very simple cuts. So I just did 3 cuts on this side here. I'm trying to replicate this side here. So what I'm going to do is just start bending them in, because now I have the ability to start creating some curvature. And what I want to try and do is replicate the curvature as best as I can, which I think I have achieved so far. I still have excess on both sides, but I won't be worrying about that until the end. So that's as many relief cuts as I want to do at the bottom, so that I've achieved what I need to. Before I move on, I created one more relief cut right here on the other side, because there is a slight curvature on this end too. So what I've done now is I've got it clamped in place. These are just simple clamps that you can get at a hardware store, so that I can hold the mesh in the exact spot that I want the plastic piece molding to stay put while I do the next part, which is very important. What I'm going to do is I'm going to outline this curved shape here, which butts up underneath the headlight assembly. And that's important because I want to be able to do several relief cuts, because I need to shape not a straight edge, but curved edges and 2 peaks. Well, actually 3 peaks. So I want to be able to follow it exactly, so that when I'm forming it, I know that I'm getting the same height in every area that I require. So now I'm ready to remove the plastic molding so that I can start shaping the metal. Okay, I removed the original plastic molding strip from my mesh mock-up, and I've drawn in the line that's going to follow the top part of this modification. Now, since it's curved, it's going to require a little bit of artistry and creativity on your part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right up to the line relief cuts where I feel it's necessary. If there's a straight spot, I'll do the relief cuts at both ends. Where there's a curve, I may need to do additional relief cuts to get that curvature that I want. So I'm just going to get started. So I cut on the side here to allow me to have the flexibility to start bending. So I'm going to do one cut here, and then just that section, push it up. So this will have the, what I'm going to do is start cutting so that I can shape that top part. But I need to do it in sections because it is curved. I can't do it like the bottom, which has a straight edge, straight profile. Take your time doing this. There's no rush. This is where my peak is. Okay, that's a pretty much crude mock-up. You can see that I've achieved this curvature at the top. Obviously, I have to trim and shape the ends and cut the excess because I only have about a centimeter, half an inch of space underneath the headlight in which to push it in. But that's the general shape. I'm going to keep massaging it and keep proceeding with it. So the next step is to form the ends. I've been working on this end here, and I'm going to start doing some work on this end. So as you recall, I marked with the marker where the edge of it is. So I need to do relief cuts at the top and the bottom so that I can bend it. Okay. I think it's... I'll trim any excess at the very end when I'm setting it up at the car, because I don't want to cut off. You can't replace things that you cut off, so I want to do it at the very end. So that's what the two ends are looking like. I haven't trimmed the bottom or the top. I want to do that at the end. And again, here's the other side. I need to trim and shape it a little bit more. The next step is for me to cut all of the excess at the top here. As I mentioned, it needs to be about a centimeter wide in order to fit properly underneath the headlight assembly unit. So I'm going to start marking it off and then start trimming like I did with this piece. There's only this one section here that it's not required because I did measurements, but the rest of it has to be cut down to that amount. I've started to trim the excess at the top, so I'm just going to continue on along to the other side. Sometimes it'll require you to flex each individual piece so that you can get the tin snips in a proper location in order to cut. You can just move it back later. I'll have to move this one out of the way. Sometimes it doesn't want to cooperate. Just have to be persistent and gentle at the same time. And that's the general shape. I need to obviously fine tune this end, fine tune a little bit around here, and obviously fine tune this area here, which I'll continue to do. I trimmed the two edges and shaped them, and all of the top has been trimmed so now it will properly fit on the vehicle. I don't want to do any more fine tuning until I move to the car to make sure that I've got the curvature right, if I need to flex it a little bit more, if certain areas need to be trimmed or reshaped a tiny bit before I attempt to secure it to the vehicle. So that's the next step. We're going to go to the vehicle and start test fitting them. Hi everyone, now I'm back at the vehicle. I've just put into place, without securing it, one of the modifications, the mesh grill that I've fabricated for the passenger side. You can see it follows the curve fairly well. I obviously have to zip tie it into place at this spot and also at the other end. So I'm going to attempt to find the correct size. It's going to be a smaller zip tie, and I'm going to try and secure it into place and see what happens. So what I ended up doing in order to secure it to the vehicle was I had to remove the side indicator light so that I could gain access to this cavity. What I did was I put two zip ties, one here at the bottom and one at the top, securing it to the fender. I used the two slots that the original trim piece fits into. I put another zip tie here to secure it against the inner mounting bracket for the headlight assembly. And then I have two at the far end securing it to the under part of the headlight assembly. So if you have to remove the headlight assembly, this will have to come with it. You'll have to cut these two here. But what I'm going to do now is put the turn indicator back in and see how it all fits. Reinstall the turn indicator assembly and it seems to fit nicely. The last step that has to be done would be to install the bumper cover because I'm repairing it. And what that'll do is it'll put a little bit of pressure underneath this mesh to hold it up snugly against the bottom of the turn indicator and the headlight assembly so that it'll look tight against it. And I think I'm going to do the other side, and I think it turned out well for a very economical modification that looks a little bit more aggressive. Hope you agree. Thanks everyone for watching this exciting tutorial on how to perform a simple yet very visual modification to any E46 BMW's front end. The modification is simple to perform, requires basic tools, and is very economical. It enhances the look of any E46 or other versions with removable trim and is achievable by any DIYer. If you get bored with the look, you can fabricate new ones out of different material or even remove them and reinstall the original lower headlight trim to return to that stock look. Always remember to use proper eye protection. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and select the notification option. Drive, your source for automotive reviews, analysis, maintenance, and restorations.